Good afternoon, and I'm going to talk about proud to be dishonest, emotional consequences of altruistic versus egoistic. And first, I want to show the framing of my work. And this is our recent model that say that when we face a tempting situation, we pose a ethical dissonance. And then ethical dissonance actually pose a threat on our moral self, and we can bypass this threat by two routes. One is the non-deliberative justification, such as blind spot and or motivated reasoning, all this literature. And the other is deliberate justification, and both kind of routes help us to maintain our moral self and doing wrong, but at the same time feeling moral with ourselves. My work is primarily focused on deliberate justification, and maybe the most justification that I look for, I do research on is altruistic cheating. What is altruistic cheating? Is when I cheat to benefit other people, not myself, and sometimes also to benefit myself. And instead of focusing on the bad, on the ethical dissonance, I'm focusing on the utility that I bring to other people and balance the scale. Maybe a very good example of altruistic cheating is this famous score by Maradona in the World Cup against England, and you probably remember it. And after this game, Maradona said, I didn't do it to myself, I did it to the benefit of the Argentinian people. And he also said that it was not his hand, it was 50% his hand and 50% the hand of God. So this kind of justification is very strong, and we have many research about it. And in this research, we want to look on the emotional consequences of altruistic cheating compared to egoistic cheating. So previous research focused on emotion with dishonesty. Most of the research was focused on the negative emotion, and there is exception one, the cheater high by Ruddy et al. But it's also focused on the joy, excitement, or any kind of hedonic emotion. We look on, particularly in this project, on self-conscious emotion of pride. Yes, and what we think is that altruistic cheating actually not only reduce the guilt and the shame, but also increase the pride. So the hypothesis of our research is that altruistic dishonesty will be more frequent than egoistic dishonesty and will be judged more favorably, and that altruistic dishonesty will be associated with less intense guilt and shame, but also more intense pride. And this is the unique feature of our research that showed that it's not only reduce or maintain our moral self, it actually boosts our emotion of our moral self when we are doing altruistic cheating. So the first experiment, we run a 3 pre-registering experiment. And the first one is only scenario. We give to people the this metric stats that you probably know from Azar et al. And we told them that to imagine themselves decide to cheat in order to increase their benefit, either in one group to themselves or in other group to help to other people or to give money to people in need. Yes, and when we compare these two groups, and this is only a scenario experiment, we see that altruistic dishonesty, this is the moral judgment of people, and altruistic dishonesty was judged as much more moral than egoistic dishonesty, and this was our hypothesis. But more interesting, when people expect their emotion, they think that in altruistic dishonesty they will feel um, um, less guilt. This is the red, less guilt and more pride than compared to egoistic dishonesty. So, but of course, the guilt is much stronger. The negative emotion, according to people expectation, is stronger than the positive emotion. What happened in actual behavior? So we run two experiments on actual behavior, and in this experiment, we use this task. This is actually, if you know the dots task, it's a version of the dots task. We show the people this square, and this square is actually comprised from blue and pink squares. And we ask them which color of the two is the dominant one. And we ask them to be as accurate as possible, but we we pay more if you choose blue. And of course, we do counterbalance on the different colors and everything. And we look on this trial when there are more pink, but they get more money for blue. And then this trial is actually the measure of cheating. And you can read in the papers the equation that we actually um, do this measure of cheating. So what happened when actually for example, in this trial, you can see we pose a conflict between being accurate and say there are more pink and maximize your money when you say blue. Okay, so what we get? First of all, the cheating. This is actually very robust in many experiments, other experiments. We always get that altruistic dishonesty is more strong than egoistic dishonesty. People cheat more when they cheat for other people. And this was, of course, significance, but what is the emotional consequences of each of these type of cheating? So altruistic cheating is more prevalent, but it also change the emotional patterns. What we can see here, this is, I will show you. So this is the altruistic cheating, and we can see that as participants cheat more, they feel more proud with themselves, and actually the guilt and shame is smaller than the pride and is constant. In contrast, when people cheat for themselves and take the money to their pocket, when they cheat more, they feel less pride with themselves. And actually, the shame and guilt increase with cheating, which is, we can expect it. And actually, what we think is that the emotional, this kind of emotions are part or main driver of why altruistic cheating is more prevalent, and also why people feel much better with themselves after altruistic cheating. What we did in the last experiment, experiment 3, is that we have also a condition when we have a combined cheating, which means that you cheat and 50% of the benefit go to your pocket and 50% of it go to benefit other people and people in need. And usually we use a charity, for example, to help to children that need some help. So participants engage in the same task as an experiment one, as an experiment two, with the square and the pink and blue square, and reported their experience of pride, shame, and guilt. And in this experiment, we have three conditions, and one condition is egoistic, so people get all the money to their pocket. One condition is pure altruistic, that we get 100% of the money to the charity, and one is 50-50, that you get 50% to your pocket and 50% you donate to charity. So what is the result? We can see that the justification model work very good here, and actually it's a replication of another paper that we already show this phenomenon, that in altruistic dishonesty, they cheat the highest level, and the smallest level was in the egoistic dishonesty, and the combined is somewhere in between. Here, there was no statistical difference between combined and altruistic in the magnitude of cheating. You see that in altruistic dishonesty, they cheat a little bit more, but it's not significant. But more important, again, is the emotion. And what we can see in these three conditions, the emotional consequences. I will show it here. So again, in altruistic cheating, as people cheat more, the pride increase and guilt and shame decrease. In contrast, in egoistic dishonesty, when people cheat more, the pride decrease to almost zero, and guilt and shame increase. And here it's in the combined dishonesty, also the emotions are balanced and they are constant. But you can see that always, not always, but in many of the participants, the pride is in general stronger than the guilt and shame. Of course, we use measure of self-report, but I think it's also interesting that we always think about the bad emotion, the negative emotion that associated with dishonest behavior and unethical behavior, but there are also some good emotion, especially when we help to our friends. Okay, to summary, altruistic dishonesty evoke less guilt and shame, but also more pride than egoistic dishonesty. And when being dishonest to benefit other includes self-benefit as well, the altruistic motive is contaminated, leading to decrease in pride. And in general, what we show in this paper, that emotion or positive emotion of pride is play an important role, particularly in altruistic dishonesty. And it's not only reduce guilt and shame, but also it's boost our moral self and our the way we thinking about ourselves. Thank you.